What up, team? Welcome back to Big Boys Boxing for another Monday boxing talking session. I'm Jono, your host, and as per usual, let me get a couple of things sorted here and we'll get straight into it. Sounds on. Alright, so over the weekend we didn't have a lot of decent heavyweight action. There's only one fight really worth watching, and Zhili Zhang versus Andrei Rudenko. Tough ass journeyman, always comes to fights. And he did put up a fight. He was getting pretty much outboxed and dominated for the first 5 rounds. But he started looking a bit tired, and Rudenko came on in a few spurts. I gave him a couple of rounds in the second half of the fight. The referee scored it 99-91, 98-92, and 97-93, all in favour of Zhili Zhang. So some question marks were raised for me with Zhang's performance regarding his stamina. Maybe that has something to do with age. He started moving a lot less in the later rounds, and he didn't go to the body as much as I expected, considering Ajit Kabiel had dropped Andrei Rudenko with a body shot in his last fight. There was a couple of spots in the fight where I thought Zhili Zhang could have gotten Rudenko out of there. There was one shot, I think it was the third round. He looked hurt, and Zhang didn't jump on him, didn't put a big barrage of punches on. Maybe he was starting to feel a little bit fatigued that early and didn't think if he couldn't get him out of there he could have been in trouble or something. But there was a couple of spots in the second half of the fight as well where I thought he'd hurt Rudenko, backed him up, and wasn't able to follow through with a killer instinct and end the fight. Even in the last round, it looked like Rudenko was hurt, but both fighters were pretty spent by then. So Zhili Zhang gets the win and moves forward. Could I see Zhang capturing a title? Possibly not. You know, he's 36 years of age. This was his highest quality opponent to date. And I mean, it is what it is. Andrei Rudenko's never been stopped. Povetkin couldn't stop him. Kabiel couldn't stop him. Huey Fury couldn't stop him. Lucas Brown couldn't stop him. Those were his 4 losses. So I don't know. I'd like to see Zhili Zhang in some higher level fights. As L-Dog says in the chat here, Parker versus Zhang is a pretty good matchup. I agree with that. They've got similar styles. You know, Parker tends to take rounds off now and then when he gets fatigued, and that seemed like what Zhang did for the whole second half of the fight. But I don't know, man. That's a decent fight. I would like to see it, but I think Zhang needs something fairly quickly as an intermediate fight. Who would I pick as an intermediate fight? Zhang versus Lucas Brown, maybe okay. Zhang versus Kabiel is a good fight. Those sorts of things, but yeah, I'll quickly move on from that, get through these quick stories. Another heavyweight action over the weekend. Robert Helenius got a first round knockout over a nobody. Guido Vianello got a first round knockout. Oh, actually, Helenius might have been second round. It was one of them. Guido Vianello got a first round knockout over, what's his name? Colby Madison, as expected. Also, Cash Ali got a second round stoppage as well over a nobody, coming back from his suspension. So those were the heavyweight fights that I were interested in over the weekend anyway, and everything pretty much went as expected. I was thinking maybe Zhili Zhang might get Rudenko out of there, trying to make a statement, but Rudenko's a tough son of a bitch, so I had thought that it would either go the rounds or Zhili Zhang would stop him possibly early, but yeah, it is what it is. Some other action over the weekend that wasn't heavyweights was a little bit more interesting. Oscar Valdez got out of jail. He got a get out of jail free card, man. He fought a very late replacement in Adam Lopez at 130 pounds, and Adam Lopez is actually a 126 pounder. Lopez had a 30 hours notice for the fight, late replacement, so it was almost set up to make Valdez look good, but Adam Lopez was a lot better than expected. He knocked Valdez down, I think it was in the third round, with a good left kind of uppercut hook. And I was watching the fight and it was coming to the end of the round 7. Valdez was down on the cards. Lopez was winning, and it was like 10 seconds to go for the round, and I had something to do, so I stood up, went and did that, came back half a minute later and the fight's over, and I'm like, what the fuck happened here? I haven't seen a replay of what happened, but from what I read, Lopez got knocked down, he stood up, was ready to go, and the ref stopped the fight with 7 seconds to go in the round. So I have to do some more investigation into that, but yeah, Lopez, I think he's a bit disgruntled. I would be too, particularly when you're up on the cards. I mean, fighter safety isn't imperative, but I guess maybe with a few fighters dying this year and referees not wanting to be responsible for anybody's death, some of them are getting a bit trigger happy with stopping fights, maybe, I don't know, but that was a rough call on Lopez for sure. But Valdez that was a final eliminator, so Valdez gets to face Bichat next. I even read an article, Bichat was at the fight and he was surprised how well Adam Lopez did. But yeah, and the other one, it was a bit of an upset. What's his name? I can't remember his name. Castanillo? Yeah, he beat Zolani Tete in 3 rounds, so destroyed him. That was interesting. But anyways, I shall drop a link in the chat for anybody who may like to join the panel. I have a hangout open, and I will get over and drop a link in the stream crew as well for regulars. Anybody else that wants to get on and none of those links are working for you, drop me an email at the email that's in the description. I'll add you manually one way or another. Hopefully it's all gonna work today. So I've just been perusing some articles and I saw an article. Andy Ruiz says he can't let Joshua grow some balls in there. So it's fight week for the big card. Big card this weekend. We've got Philip Hrgovic in action against Derek Molina. We've got Michael Hunter versus Alexander Povetkin. That's a great fight itself. And of course we've got the big rematch between Andy Ruiz Jr. and Anthony Joshua for the 3 belts. Winner takes all. Winner is free to do what they want. The card is in the rear. in Saudi Arabia. Both fighters have been there for about a week already. Both fighters have no excuses, or no speculative excuses this time. I hope nobody's still sparring. There's 6 days to go, man, and I am pumped for this card. Pumped. But yeah, Andy Ruiz saying he can't let Joshua grow any balls in there. That's definitely a sign that Ruiz is going to be pressuring, because Ruiz is a pressure fighter. He'll be on Joshua like flies on shit, trying to get him to exchange, trying to use those fast hands. And that's the way Andy Ruiz can win the fight for me. If he tries to sit back and box and be a pure counter puncher, Joshua can pick him apart from distance where Ruiz can't reach him. So I've said it before, I can imagine Joshua is going to try and keep the fight as long as possible, and expect a lot of clinching from Joshua if Andy Ruiz gets in close, because he don't want to be in that pocket when Andy Ruiz throws combinations, man. No freaking way. That's the best way for him to get knocked the fuck out or stopped again. So I'm interested to see how this goes. I'm picking Andy Ruiz at this stage. I'm not going to make my official final prediction until I've seen the weigh-in. But I've seen a few clips of Anthony Joshua looking pretty nimble, trying to use a lot of angles with shadow boxing, so he's doing all the right things. He's got the right kind of sparring partners to try and give him the right kind of work that Andy Ruiz is gonna bring. So, like I say, no excuses this time, man. I am so looking forward to the fight. So looking forward to the card. There's also that Michael Hunter versus Alexander Povetkin fight. I'm picking Hunter at this stage on points, but you know, if it was 5 years ago, I definitely would have been picking Alexander Povetkin. But Michael Hunter is quality, don't get me wrong. The dude can fight. He's pretty nimble himself. He's pretty fast. He doesn't seem to tire a lot. So, yeah, looking forward to that fight this weekend. Rafi's just sent me a message, can't join today. No worries, brother. It's all good, man. And the Filip Hrgovic versus Eric Molina fight, I think it's pretty much a foregone conclusion, that one, but you can never be too sure with Eric Molina. If you cast your mind back to when was that fight? Must have been about 2015. He fought Johan Dorper and he was getting pieced up all night, but he got backed up into the corner and he was in his high guard as usual and winged out an overhand right that caught Dorper by surprise and knocked him clean the fuck out. And Molina's been living off that knockout ever since. If it wasn't for that knockout, he wouldn't have got 2 title attempts. But I think we're going to see something similar to what Anthony Joshua did to Eric Molina in there with Filip Hrgovic. For me, Filip Hrgovic is definitely in the top 2 of heavyweight prospects for me. It's a toss-up between him and Daniel Dubois at the moment for me. I've seen lots of Filip Hrgovic in the amateurs. He's got a style that's better suited to the pros than the amateurs. I believe he was robbed in the Olympics against Tony Yoka in the semi-finals. I also believe he was robbed in the World Series of Boxing against Joe Joyce. And these fights, he was only around 19 years of age. So, a lot of potential for Filip Hrgovic there as well. No disrespect to any other prospects like Efra Jugba, Yevgeny Romanov, Aslan Bekmambetov, the Jalalov guy. There's plenty of prospects out there that definitely have a lot of potential as well. But I think Daniel Dubois and Filip Hrgovic at the moment are definitely the two best prospects in the world. And to be clear, Joe Joyce is not a prospect. He holds a bullshit version of a WBA belt. He's fought in too many high level fights to be a prospect anymore. Prospect. He's more of a contender these days. I got a prediction for AJ versus Ruiz. Yeah, I don't want to make an official prediction yet, but I'm thinking Andy Ruiz is going to get to Joshua. Eventually, I think he's going to stop him in rounds between 7 and 10, somewhere there. But yeah, like I say, it's not an official prediction as yet. I want to see the weigh-in, and I want to see a bit more footage of what's going on, and there'll be a lot more of it come out this week being fight week. So more accurate prediction, I think, is to be made once I've seen the weigh-in and caught up on everything that's going on with the fighters. Oh yeah, there was supposed to be another fight this weekend that didn't happen. Huey Fury was supposed to be on that Zhili Zhang card, the Best Butin versus Bute card. But apparently he pulled out with the virus. This is Huey Fury. He was supposed to be fighting a guy, Pavel Sauer. Excuse me. He isn't any kind of elite heavyweight or anything like that. Not even dangerous. I mean, Jermaine Franklin fought that dude last and couldn't get him out of there. Knocked him down, but couldn't get him out of there. So, you know, he's the kind of guy that Huey Fury could actually stop, and that's saying something. But, you know, he came down with this virus and pulled out with less than 24 hours to go until the fight. So, for me, I don't know if it actually was a virus, or it could have been a virus that him and his management decided was a valid excuse. I call it shit fightitis. A fight against Pavel Sauer does nothing for Huey Fury. Nothing. And the reaction that everybody I'd spoken to about Huey Fury fighting Pavel Sauer was meh, won't even bother watching it. So you can call that virus for Huey Fury shit fightitis. What else have we got in the news to talk about? I don't have any bets on Andy Ruiz versus Anthony Joshua as yet, our dog, but I might play something on once I've seen that weigh in, and actually I might go and check out what the odds are doing right now. Give me a sec here, y'all. I'll bring up our local betting site in New Zealand, which is TAB. Let's see what the odds are like on it. TAB. Sports betting. Sports A to Z. Where's boxing? I won't be betting on bowls. There's boxing. Alright. Let's see what we got. See what the odds are on lots of fights, actually. There's a fair few worth watching. Oh, there's Dillian White and Marius Vuk on that card now too, isn't there? I forgot about that. That was announced last week. I reckon White's gonna stop Marius Vuk in that fight. I think he's gonna stop him later on in the fight. somewhere after 6, possibly before 10. It might only be a 10 round fight actually, so. Alright, where's this fight? I'm looking. Ugas. Looking down the list. Tom Little is fighting. Majidov. Don't know who this guy is. And he's got a hell of a long first name that I'm not going to try and pronounce. Okay, Filip Hrgovic versus Eric Molina. Filip Hrgovic is paying $1.03. So you put $1 on, you get $1.03 back if he wins. Eric Molina's paying $13. So let's have a look at the methods here. What do we got? Filip Hrgovic by points or decision is paying $7. Hrgovic by knockout is paying $1.11. Wow. Eric Molina by points $17, and Eric Molina by knockout $34. Oh no, that's wrong. That's a draw, $34. $17 for a knockout by Molina, and $41 for Molina on points. So that tells you all you need to know. Molina ain't winning, I don't think. So now I've got to go through the list again. That's stupid. What do we got here? Michael Hunter versus Alexander Povetkin. This is a hella competitive fight, man. Michael Hunter, oh, he's only paying $1.50. Povetkin's paying $2.40. So that's just for the wins. The methods we've got Michael Hunter on points, which is what I'm predicting, is paying $2. So you put $1 on, you get $2 back. Hunter by knockout $5. Povetkin on points $4. Povetkin by knockout $6. Ooh, that's a little bit attractive. That could be my hedge. If I put, say, $20 on Hunter on points, if he wins it'll get 40. I can't see Povetkin winning on points, so hedging Povetkin by knockout to hedge a $20 bet, you'd only have to put $5 on to make your 20 back. But if you put $10 on, you get $20 profit, even though you've. So that's how you can make a profit either way. $20 on Hunter at $2, that'll pay 40, and then hedge it with another $10 on Povetkin. So either way, you're gonna make $20. That's just saying small money, so obviously I'm not a big bettor unless I'm positive of something, like when Jarrell Miller fought Gerald Washington. Many were thinking Gerald Washington was gonna outbox Jarrell Miller. I knew very well what was gonna happen in that fight, so I placed some decent money on that fight and made a decent amount of money. Dillian White versus Marius Vuk. Dillian White's only paying $1.02. Marius Vuk's paying $13. That's just for the win. And the methods, what do we got here? Dillian White on points is paying $3.50. That's interesting. And for the knockout, he's only paying $1.35. That's interesting. Marius Vuk's only been KO'd once. That was by Martin Bacoli recently. but he still got up afterwards. So yeah, I'm interested. Maybe a better bet for that one is white on points. But Marius Vuck is getting pretty shot these days. Okay, so Marius Vuck to win on points is paying $26, and Marius Vuck by knockout is $21. So yeah, take your pick on that one. I'm still gonna pick Dillian White to stop Marius Vuck. I'm disappointed that the bookies are agreeing with me. I was hoping I might be able to place something and win something on that one, but it is what it is. Alright, the big fight. Andy Ruiz Jr. versus Anthony Joshua. Andy Ruiz Jr. is paying $2.80 for the win, and Anthony Joshua is paying $1.40. So Joshua is firmly the favourite. So the bookies seem to think it was a fluke, but we have some methods here. Have we got at the top here? Andy Ruiz Jr. on points is paying $13, and I agree with the bookies. That shit ain't gonna happen. Full stop. Andy Ruiz by knockout, $3.40. So there's a good earner. Anthony Joshua on points is $4.33. So that's not a bad earner too. Those are the two methods I think are most likely. Ruiz by KO, Joshua on points. But Anthony Joshua is only paying $1.83 for a knockout. Unless he gets some help from the referee, I can't see it happening, so I'll probably be putting something on Joshua by points and maybe hedge it with Ruiz by KO. So those are close to what I'm probably going to be doing with regard to my bets. Alright, so back to the chat now. Aldo. Look at the odds for Hrgovic stopping Molina. Yeah. Rounds 1 to 4. Actually, I can do that if they've got the options yet. TAB's a bit shit with their options sometimes. So give me a sec here, I'll see what they got. Down to Philip Hrgovic, Eric Molina, there it is. Let's have a mosey. Let's pick the round exact. No, we want. What options have we got? We've got 6 rounds. We've got 4 rounds. Okay. And we've got 3 rounds. We've got 2 rounds. These are round groupings as well. So look at rounds 1 to 4. Hrgovic round to 4, 1 to 4 is $1.91. It's not that good. Rounds 5 to 8, $2.40. 9 to 12, $6.50. So I just want to look at some smaller groups. If I was betting on this, I'd probably be looking at 3 rounds or 2 rounds. Group 3 rounds, 1 to 3 is $2.60 for Hrgovic to stop him within 3. So that's a bit better odds for me. I'd be looking maybe at that one. Rounds 4 to 6 is $2.50. That's interesting. $2.60 for the first 3 is a better bet than 4 to 6. Nah, man, Molina ain't going past 4. No way. But one more look at what we got. Round 2 round betting. Rounds 1 and 2, $4. Round 3 to 4, $3.40. So I don't know if Hergovic will get him in the first 2, but I think he'll get him within the first 3. That's interesting. And obviously, after the weigh-in for the other 2 big fights, being Hunter Povetkin and Joshua vs Ruiz, I'll be looking at those group round bettings after the weigh-in as well. So it will be interesting. I'm just looking back at the chat here. Double A Boxing and Blunts, yeah. Go and check out Double A's channel. He's got some funny shit, man. Also, Tommy Temper's got some funny shit as well. L-Dog 1 to 3 at 260 is a good bet. Yeah, I think the 260 is not bad. I'm sort of umming and ahhing to myself about that 1 and 2 now because it's paying $4. But I try not to get swayed by the odds too much. Throws you off what you know. The lure of more money. You don't want to let the odds sway you, but you want to use the odds in your favour at the same time. And don't forget about hedges if you're betting. Not that I'm encouraging gambling, but I do dabble a bit with gambling on boxing now and then, and I do make a little money sometimes, so it's all in fun, and it's always adds a bit more anticipation to the fight if you've got something on it. Alright, one more time, y'all. Here's a link. If anybody wants to join, jump on in. Otherwise, I'm gonna run out of shit to talk about soon. Oh, Deontay Wilder vs Luis Ortiz. Compiling rumors. It looks like it was a flop, man. You know, I saw one rumor going around that was 2,500 pay-per-view buys. That's just freaking ridiculous. That's got to be bullshit. I did see another one that mentioned about 140,000. That seems more realistic to me. But it's still a flop at 140,000. You got to make 250 PPVs in the States to break even. So yeah, it's a flop, and this is the price you pay when you put on a fight that nobody really wants to see. I mean, there's a select few that of course want to see it. You know, Wilder's fan base has been bigging up Ortiz ever since he was made mandatory to Joshua for the WBA. No, he was made mandatory for a belt that was vacant, actually. And he stepped aside to let Vladimir and Joshua fight for that belt. But ever since that point, they've been bigging him up. But they weren't talking about Ortiz as a killer prior to that. Full stop. But yeah, he's been labelled as a killer ever since Deontay Wilder had signed to fight him. I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't mind Luis Ortiz as a fighter. He's a pretty good technician, but he's always had pretty slow feet. He's always had fairly slow hands, doesn't throw a lot of punches and combinations, and when he does, he looks uncoordinated, but he's a tricky southpaw who likes to set traps, and he does have a punch. I think he's a top 10 fighter, but I'm not going to say he's a top 5 fighter. No way. Not at 40 years of age. He's been slowly sliding ever since he was about 37. And I think he can still beat a lot of fighters. But in this fight against Wilder, the one that's just happened, he looked even slower than the first time around. And we can go on about scorecards and how he was up on the cards, and he was outboxing Wilder. But the fact of the matter is, Wilder was patient. He wasn't trying to outbox Ortiz. He was going for the knockout. It's a common theme with Deontay Wilder, and he's been getting away with it for so long. And there's been a few boxers comment about Wilder isn't a boxer, he's a knockout artist. I'm not going to argue with that. It's what he does, and what he does is working for him. But he hasn't fought a young, hungry, pressure fighter who throws lots of punches and who can take a punch, like the likes of Andy Ruiz Jr., like the likes of Adam Kovnarski, like the likes of Jarrell Miller, like Alexander Povetkin. Even at 40 could still pose problems, but I think Povetkin would probably get gassed and end up out of there. Wilder has a good gas tank, but he hasn't been pressured heavily like the other three fighters that I mentioned do, and that gasses people. Against fighters like that, Deontay Wilder couldn't sit back, defend, throw one shot here and there, or 3 shots a round, hoping that one of them's going to land. There's no plan B for Wilder with this game plan that he's got of be patient, wait for your opening, knock him out. And I believe particularly somebody like Andy Ruiz can take Wilder's punch. He might go down, but if he gets back up, look the fuck out, because he will be on you like flies on shit, throwing shitloads of punches. You can't just stand there and block them, not when there's that many of them, and not when they're coming that fast, high and low. So unless Deontay Wilder changes his game plan when he faces a fighter like this, I believe he'll lose. But until then, we cannot discredit him, because what he's doing is working. Just going back to the chat to have a nosy what you're all about here. Wilder is a puncher. Definitely. But when punching doesn't work, he's going to have to come up with something else. That's just my opinion, though. Of course, I could be wrong, and I'll be the first to admit it if I do get it wrong. What's this? Basic fundamentals. So relies on the punch. Yeah, definitely. Simple game plan. It is a simple game plan, but like I say, you need a plan B, because if that plan doesn't work, you're 6 rounds down on the cards halfway through the fight, you're fucked. Unless you knock the opponent down several times and not let them win another round for the rest of the fight, you're fucked. If it gets away from you too long, there's no chance of a plan B working. And it makes a mockery of boxing, doesn't it? I don't have to box. I can just absorb punishment, dance around a little bit, and wait for the other guy to get tired and throw one punch and win the fight. It takes away from boxing skill, really. AJ is a bodybuilder? No, he's not. He's got the physique of a bodybuilder. It doesn't make him a bodybuilder. AJ's a bit of an all-rounder for me. He can box a bit, he can punch a bit, he can pressure a little bit, he can box on the back foot a bit. He's got a bit of everything, but he's not the kind of guy who What, the biggest downfall for AJ for me is his lack of head movement, and his foot speed isn't that great. And I've always said it, when he throws a big punch, it takes him ages to get that right hand back to his chin. It hangs out there for what seems an eternity. And he just doesn't look fluid. It doesn't look natural. He looks like he's a manufactured fighter. And that's probably where the robot term comes from a lot of people. But having enough of every skill, he could use different equipment in the ring all the time. If something isn't working, he can change to something else. And that's the biggest difference between Wilder and AJ, in my opinion. What else we got here? Jack of all trades, master of none. Exactly, our dog. If you don't have power in the heavyweight division, you don't got it. Well, to an extent, every heavyweight has power. A lot of it comes down to punch technique and how accurate you can be with it. Tyson Fury, what many people say, he doesn't have power. He still managed to capture 3 world titles, didn't he? So, if you can box really well and you don't have the big power like Deontay Wilder, you can still make it. You certainly can still make it, but most heavyweight fans watch heavyweights for knockouts, and not most heavyweight fans, maybe most casual heavyweight fans would say, if you can't knock them out, then you're useless. But unfortunately, for those people of that opinion, it's just not a fact. We'll see, Wilder versus Fury is two masters of one trade fighting each other, and it's the style that makes it exciting, doesn't it? Fury's a master of pure boxing, and Wilder is a master of accurate power. So I think the advantage has got to go to Fury on paper, though, doesn't it? Because he can change things up. He can try different things because he's good at lots of different boxing fundamentally sound things. Whereas Wilder has his right hand. He has improved his check left hook. But Wilder has a jab that is underutilized as well, in my opinion. I think there's still plenty that Deontay Wilder could work on, and he could be a legend of the sport. But it seems his trainers are reluctant to try and change the unorthodox, unique style of Wilder, because it has been working for him for 42 fights? Or 42 fights he's won, drawn 1. So, what is a little bit disappointing is how selective Wilder's management has been for me of picking particular styles that are right for Wilder. Some can't be blamed on Wilder because they were mandatories. You've got to blame the WBC for having the 2 mandatories that are both guys that didn't deserve to be there. Bermain Stavern didn't deserve to be there. He had what I thought was a draw against Derek Rossi, getting knocked down, but they still put him in there. A guy who will stand directly in front of a power puncher, waiting to block and try a counter. Duh, who's going to win that one? Then Dominic Breazeale. They put him in there because Stiverne got bumped up to... No, was it Stiverne? Yeah, he was supposed to be fighting Stiverne in the final eliminator. And Stiverne got bumped up to the mandatory. So Brazil had to fight Molina in a final eliminator. That was only a final eliminator for Dominic Brazil. So they put him in as mandatory. Another guy who's going to stand right in front of Deontay Wilder. Duh, who's going to win? And the WBC are doing it again. It was only a month ago, Mauricio Solomon was in an interview saying that the mandatories have to fight a final eliminator, and we have been consistent with that, he says. And then at the end of the same video, he says, we're going to install Tyson Fury as the mandatory for February. Where's the final eliminator? Huh? What's given Tyson Fury the right to be the mandatory in a fight that's already signed? Boycott WBC 2020. Elevating Lomachenko to franchise champion because Bob Arum petitioned for it. He'd fought one WBC fight, and they put him into this position, the I want to duck my mandatory belt. Just because they petitioned didn't mean that he had to be granted. It's fucking bullshit. I'm sick of the WBC. Pack of wankers. What is that? What is equalizer? You know why power is everything in the division, because power isn't everything though. If you can box, you can beat a power puncher if that's all he is. Yeah, I like watching power punches for sure. They're exciting. I enjoy them, but I also enjoy. I am a boxing fan. I'm not just a knockout fan. And if you think power is everything in the heavyweight division, then you're kidding yourself. You're not a boxing fan. You're just a knockout fan. Fury, a master of power. Yeah, nice one, Double A. Alright, man. Last chance. I'm going to drop this link one more time. If nobody wants to join, I'll shut it down and find something else to do. I'll go have a quick peruse over the news and see if there's anything new popped up. Rowan Campbell, who's that? Actually, I should go and see if I can find some Parker news, because they were saying last week they wanted some news out of Eddie when Parker was going to be able to fight next. Whether this Derek Chisora fight is actually happening, or is he going to go off and fight Alexander Usyk? Just don't know. It's all been kept quiet at the moment, but I did see Eddie Hearn come out last week and said Parker's definitely still firmly in the running for that Chisora fight. It looks like it'll be in February. Oops. Joseph Parker. By the way, y'all, I've got a new favourite New Zealand fighter. It's not Joseph Parker. It's not Junior Fire. That's Hemi the Ahio. Man, that dude's exciting to watch. Exciting as hell. And he hits fucking hard, I tell ya. Something went wrong with what I was doing here. Joseph Parker News, where are we? When's this story from? Joseph Parker latest news. Breaking stories. Alright. Let's see what this site is. It's crap. That's what it is. Sorry team. Bit of mucking around here, trying to find out exactly what's going on with Mr. Lupe Soliai La'auli something Amaliatoa, can't remember that bit. Lupe Soliai La'auli Oleo Maliatoa Joseph Parker. Now, latest story that I can find is Daniel Dubois talking about Joseph Parker, and that's old news. What else we got going on? Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Wilder's equalizer. Parker needs a win against someone. He hasn't had a notable win since Huey Fury, really, is he? So, and that's not even that notable. It was a mandatory. It had to be done. But you know, they messed around with that one. Another case of shit fightitis. He's getting a reputation as Huey Fury for dropping out of fights. Who is Parker's next opponent? Well, I'm hoping it will be Shizora or somebody else notable from the Matchroom stable. I mean, it's possible that the winner of Povetkin versus Hunter could be his next opponent if Shizora don't want that heat. Hey. Depending what Dillian White's doing too, he may end up fighting Joseph Parker in February. He's expressed interest in a possible rematch. That's one I've wanted to see go down ever since they fought the first time, with that bit of controversy with the head clash and the referee not picking it up and all that shit. So for me, that's something that needs to be sorted out. And for Parker, this provisional suspension of Dillian White's mandatory status with the WBC could be a blessing in disguise for Parker. Okay? And as it is, White ain't going to be allowed, even if he gets cleared, he won't be fighting for that WBC title until February 2021. So there's plenty of opportunity and time for Parker and White to get it on again and get this shit settled. I don't know if Parker does have enough dog in him. Depends who he fights too, you know, and who's reffing. I mean, Parker's had a few incidences in the UK with refereeing that wasn't so great. You know, that Giuseppe Cortalone took away any chance that Parker had against Anthony Joshua. Fucking mafia piece of shit. And the guy, who was it? Was it Tony Weeks? Against Dillian White, not picking up that head clash, calling it a knockdown. Parker not getting time to recover. He was still concussed for 3 more rounds after that. It was a bit rough. The Huey Fury fight, I guess the refereeing was okay in that one, but Terry O'Connor was the referee, but he got changed out for what, John McDonald was it? Due to protests from David Higgins, and it ended up 2 times 118, 110 on the cards in Parker's favour, and I thought that was way wide. Huey wasn't putting a lot on his punches when he was punching. A lot of his jabs are missing, but I thought he won more than 2 rounds still. He was making Parker run around, chasing him head down, made him look stupid for a lot of the fight. So, I don't know. There's not much the referee in the ring could have done about that one. What's up, Boxing Squid? What's up, everybody in the chat? He says, good to have you in, brother. Who got banned? Tommy? Never mind, it's off topic. Off topic. What else we got going on? I suppose I should look at the schedule. I've been a bit preoccupied with this Saudi card. Surely there's got to be some other fights on, some other cards on, but maybe I'll get into that off here. And if nobody wants to join on the hangout, then I might as well close this down. I'll drop the link one more time and give it 1 minute. If anybody wants to jump on, talk boxing, give me some points of view on something, any subject to do with boxing, doesn't have to be heavyweight, and gets the conversation going. But it is 10:56 AM here in New Zealand. At 10:58 AM, I'll shut the stream down if no one wants to join. So it is what it is. I don't mind seeing that Guido Vinello fight that happened over the weekend. It was quick, but I want to watch some more of this guy. A lot of people seem to be talking about him, but from what I'd seen of him, I thought he might end up something like a gatekeeper, a decent level gatekeeper, or a low level contender. Doesn't seem to have a lot of, I mean, he's got a bit of skill there, but I guess we haven't really seen the best of him. Well, yeah, with Parker, it's a matter of being able to get some dog out of him. I know it's in him. One of his early fights where he got a bad cut over one of his eyes against who was it? Alpha Tatupu. I think that was when he was fighting for the New Zealand title the first time. He got a real bad cut in the second round, I think it was. And the referee wanted to stop the fight after the second, but Kevin Barry said, give me one more round, give me one more round. And there was some urgency from Parker. He laid it all on the line. And you want to see some dog and Parker? Go watch that fight. It's on YouTube. Joseph Parker versus Alpha Tatupu. So that's where I know that the dog is in him. When there's some urgency, it can come out, but it's a matter of getting it out of him. And I've said it often. I don't think Kevin Barry should be dropped as coach, but I think there needs to be some kind of input from somebody who can possibly get that dog out of him. Because he needs it. He needed it in the White fight. He needed it in the Joshua fight. It just wasn't there. It just didn't seem like he was interested. And yeah, like you say, he's got plenty of skill. He's evasive. He can move. He can box. He's not a pillow puncher. He can sit down on punches and do damage. I mean, he's not Deontay Wilder, but he certainly can punch. 240 pound, 6'4" guy. He's got to be able to punch. And looking at how fluid he looks, I think it's naturally, athletically in him to be able to punch pretty hard if he really wanted to. But yeah, it all comes back to getting that dog out of him. And if he can't get that dog out of him, every time he comes up against somebody who does have that dog in him, he's gonna get beat. Probably not knocked out, but he's gonna get beat. So something's got to happen with Parker. He's only going to be boxing for, what is he, 27 now? He's only going to be boxing for another 4 years. And it's all over for Parker. So whatever he's going to do, he needs to get it done. But currently I've got Parker at about number 6 or number 7 in the world. I'll just refresh my memory. I'll quickly go and have a look at the rankings. Just the box rankings will do for this. Ratings. Are we heavyweight? Not pound for pound. Go. If I look at the box rec ones, then it doesn't really doesn't let me forget anybody. So currently box rec, we've got Deontay Wilder at number 1, Andy Ruiz at 2, Joshua 3, Usyk 4. I don't agree with Usyk being there as yet. He hasn't had a high enough level fight to warrant him being there. Tyson Fury, Alexander Povetkin. So the guys I think what Parker could beat, I'm not saying will, I think he has enough maneuverability and evasive skills to possibly beat Deontay Wilder on points. But it's possible Parker could get sparked for the first time. He's already beaten Andy Ruiz. Anthony Joshua, I think he could beat Anthony Joshua as well, particularly after he's seen what Andy Ruiz did to Joshua. He would have been kicking himself because he's got similar speed but better movement and evasive skills than Andy Ruiz. So, second time round, a different game plan. If he had some dog, he could beat Anthony Joshua. Alexander Usyk, that's a fight we may see, and I think that's a very, very competitive fight. Tyson Fury, you know what? I don't think Joseph Parker can beat Tyson Fury. Just the stylistic match is a nightmare. He would have to knock Fury out, and I don't think Fury would let him get close enough. A guy like Deontay Wilder has a much better chance of beating Fury because he can hit him with his long arms. So I think that's a one big no-no for Parker, is stay the fuck away from Tyson Fury. Alexander Povetkin, I think he beats him. Yeah, Parker beats Povetkin, I think. Dillian White, I think Parker can beat Dillian White as well. If they've got a good ref. It's a very competitive fight as well. Kirat Pulev, man, that dude hasn't fought any elite level besides the one fight he's lost. Straight up. So, Kirat Pulev, nah. Luis Ortiz, I believe Parker could beat him as well, but that'd be a tough one. He has a bit of an issue with southpaws sometimes. Derek Chisora. Yeah, I think Parker beats him. Adam Kalnicki, that's a tough fight. So currently BoxRec have got Parker at 12. Yeah, I'd put him around 7, I think. From what they've got in BoxRec, Povetkin should be down at around 10. Alexander Usyk should be outside the top 15 because he hasn't fought anybody at heavyweight really, besides the guy, the Spoon. Yeah, Wilder, Ruiz, Joshua, Fury, White. And those are all the guys, or maybe Adam Kalnicki. Those are all the guys I think should be above Parker right now. So yeah, about 6 or 7. Maybe I should do a rankings one of these days. Alright team, so let's check the hangout. Nobody in here. Alright man, I'm gonna shut this mofo down then. Go and chat some boxing with some other mofos. Mr. Boxing Today in the house. No, I agree. We were just talking about that a little bit earlier. Mr. Boxing, definitely not enough dog in him. Somebody's got to find a way to get dog out of him, or he's going to get beat by the top guys continually. But like I was saying earlier also, I think he does have the dog in him. It's a matter of getting him out. If you go back and check out that Parker versus Tatupu fight from his earlier career, you'll see the dog that's there. It's just a matter of waking it up. Parker destroys AJ in a rematch. I don't know, man. I don't think AJ's as much of a hype job as many people are making out. He got caught in that third round when he made a big mistake, and he was concussed from then on, in my opinion. He's certainly going to be a hell of a lot more wary this time around, isn't he? And I think many may be surprised at how well Anthony Joshua might do. But I'm still picking Ruiz by stoppage. He's going to get to him. He's going to bombard him with fast combinations, and one of them is going to hit him in the side of the head again, and he's going to be concussed. And once he's hurt, he's in trouble, unless you give him the opportunity to recover, like Vladimir Klitschko did, thanks to the advice of his brother Vitaly in the corner. Don't go to town on him. He's getting tired. Yeah, you don't go to town on him. He can recover, and we saw what happens. 2 or 3 rounds, and he can recover. So Andrew Ruiz isn't the type of fighter that's going to let Joshua recover if he hurts him. Those are the big points, and I think it's going to be a matter of time. But like I say, I'll give a more accurate prediction after the weigh-in. I want to see exactly what they look like, catch up on some recent footage of how they've been training and whatnot, and try and make a more accurate prediction on the 6th of December. But enjoy fight week, y'all. I'll probably try and drop a few videos about maybe keys to victory and for each fighter, and what each fighter's mental states may be coming into the fight throughout the week, and we go from there, man. So hope y'all have enjoyed. Pity no one wanted to join me today, but it is what it is. Shit happens sometimes, and I will catch y'all in the next video. Don't forget to subscribe, don't forget the thumbs up. It's Big Boys Boxing, and I'm out. So